Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Me First Morning. I am your host, Patricia Ribeiro Wolfson. I'm an intuitive coach, an energy healer, and a wife and a mom of three boys. Yes, it is insane, and I love every single minute of it. Minute of it. And let me tell you, that is how I have had to become a master of my energy. Because if I don't get a handle on my own emotions and my own energy, the house can get really kind of crazy. So, welcome to this Me First Morning, because that's something that I discovered along my journey and along my motherhood journey, was that I really needed to put myself first, but in a very different way that I had been learning, a very different way that I've been hearing people talk. We talk a lot about self care, even when I talk to you here about what I help people with, which is, of course, to calibrate your energy, to integrate self care into easy, doable steps, and to embrace your own natural gifts to achieve a life you love. Now, that's kind of coach speak a little bit, but it's true. I do all of those things. But I want to touch on especially that sort of self care piece. Now, if you've been watching my show, you know I'm not someone who's really big on self care, or at least typically what we've heard to have, what we've heard as self care. But the way that I do it is I integrate into the things that I do each and every day. So I'm not adding another thing to the list. And it's really important to do that. And it's one of the reasons why I started Me First Mornings, was that this is a very intentional way for me to, number one, show up for myself, number two, show up for you and help you see how easy it can be to just take like 10 minutes out of your day. And you get to have 10 minutes out of your day with me. And then if you want to stay for the rest of the show and hear what we're talking about, that's great too. So that's why I build this show, or I created this show to be the way it is to help you just have a really easy way to set your day right, or to set your day on a good foundation. So today we're going to be talking about wasting time, and I have a story connected to that and how I kind of thought about it, and it's connected to how and it's interesting because I'm not sure if I ever actually heard you're wasting time, but I used to get into a lot of trouble for talking. I was a bit of a talker. You probably figured that out already if you've been watching my show, that you know I'm a little bit of a talker. And it suddenly hit me yesterday that one of the reasons why I'm, maybe have hesitated at some point in pursuing a career talking is probably because on some subconscious level, um, it's a waste of time. Anyway, we're going to talk about that and more. That's my own personal story. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. But first, I think it's important for us to um, set our foundation, do our little ritual together, and then we're going to talk about wasting time. And perhaps you have your own thing that you did growing up that, either your parents or your teachers or, family, friends, or whoever would say, like, that's a waste of time. Why are you bothering with that? And it was something that you really, really loved. And then here we are as adults trying to pursue our dreams, and then we can't, right? And we can't figure out why we can't pursue our dreams. It all seems very logical, but we are kind of held back. We are held back energetically because there is a limiting belief somewhere that we have formed that tells us that the thing that we love to do the most is a waste of time. And so we are going to talk about that today. God, you were and still are a talker. Ladies and gentlemen, my mom coming to confirm why, coming to confirm that I am, in fact, a talker. My grandmother used to say I would give sermons. We've talked about that here before. I definitely do give sermons. So if you like getting, a lecture or a sermon or, I like to call it motivational speaking, but I guess it depends on who you are and how you're taking the information that I'm giving you. I guess it could feel like a lecture. I'm sure my mom feels like it's a lecture all the time. Okay. So, please, number one, before we start our little morning ritual, get on YouTube, go to Jumpstart for Change, and please subscribe to my channel. just give me a little love, spread the word, pass the word to your friends, get them to subscribe to my channel. Because this year, my goal is to get the Jumpstart for Change channel to over 100. Well, I'm saying this year, I'm giving myself a lot of space to get there, but let's make it happen faster. Maybe it can be a goal by the end of the first quarter of the year, right? Which would be like March. You think I could get 100 people by March? Maybe. And you can help me if you haven't subscribed yet. So please go do that. Okay. So let's light our candle and let's begin our ritual. Here we go. Lighten the candle. Ooh, it's all like poppy today. There we go. We'll do some essential oils. Good morning to everyone who's here. Yeah, my mom once again. Yes, my mom was right on the sermons. Yes, I know. Well, I guess I'm going to take that as a compliment. Actually, a friend of mine reached out to me yesterday and said that I should asked me if I'd ever thought about becoming a spiritual leader, and I'm like, yes, I never thought about that title, but sure, why not being a spiritual leader? I already have the sermons, so I'm already set, and we're here every morning, and you can hear my sermon for the day. Okay, so now we've lit our candle. I've put some essential oils on, and now it's time to take our deep breaths. Remember, 3 deep breaths. I want you to open up the top of your head, take a deep breath in, and just imagine that liquid sunlight just pouring into your head. Just beautiful healing light. And I want your feet well planted on the ground. And I want you to imagine that you are soaking up through your feet the beautiful, nourishing life force energy that comes from the earth. And I want you to bring that energy up, and while also allowing for the sunlight, that beautiful healing white light, to pour into your head, and all of that energy, all of that healing light to go into your body and to break apart any stuck, stagnant, or dense energy. We just want to release anything that doesn't serve us. And when we exhale, we're going to release whatever that light broke apart for us. And we want to just remove it from our system. Intend that it leaves with your breath. All right. So we're going to do that 3 times. Okay. Hold on. Just move this up. Yes, it's a compliment. Yes, I know. Thanks, Mom. All right. So I'm going to grab my crystal spheres because I like them. You do not need any crystals. You do not need anything at all. All you need is this right up here and your intentions. And of course, some lungs that function. So hopefully your lungs are functioning and we can take deep breaths together. Okay. Deep breath in. And imagine the top of your head opening up and just pouring in that liquid sunlight, and from the ground, that beautiful, nurturing, healing energy coming up, and that powerful healing light breaking apart the energy that doesn't serve you while you're holding your breath, and then release. And release all of the stuff that doesn't serve you. Okay, so we're going to do that again. Obviously, I'm not holding my breath because I was talking you through it, but I will hold my breath this time because I already talked you through the first one. We're going to do the same thing the second time, okay? Here we go. Deep breath in, continuing to imagine the top of your head opening up for that sunlight, and of course, your feet well planted on the ground for the earth, because we are joining heaven and earth and bringing everything into our body because we want to be whole. And this is how we fill up on our wholeness, okay? Deep breath in. And hold. And release. Good morning, Dad. Good morning, Linda. Okay, and we're going to do one last breath. And hold. And release. Oh, awesome. Okay, now we are going to do the next step, which is just stretch it out. Okay, so just as we release the stuck and stagnant energy from our insides, like from the energy part of our body, we are going to now also release the tension and stiffness and stuckness with, our physical body, which is like our muscles and, our well, our muscles. That's what we're releasing tension from. Like our muscles are, I don't know, what else do you release tension from? I think muscles. I don't know. If my husband was on, I could ask him. He knows if there's anything else. Um, okay. Good morning, Meredith. Yay for talkers. Yes, we are talkers and we must stand together in solidarity. All right. Okay. Feeling good. Releasing that tension, letting that energy flow. We are instruments, okay? And this is what we are doing to release the tension in our bodies so that we can channel, so that we can receive information, so that we can shine our light. This is how we clean our instruments, right? We remove the tension, okay? We give ourselves a little bit of love in the morning. Even just look at yourself in the morning and say, "Good morning, beautiful. I love you." And if that doesn't resonate because you don't feel beautiful, that's okay. Just say good morning, and just be like, "I hope you have a wonderful day today." And you can say that to yourself, and hopefully that will help. And if it doesn't, keep going, keep trying. Eventually, it will sink in. If you are nice enough to yourself over and over and over again, eventually you will believe it. Eventually, it will start to resonate with you. And you'll be like, having a good day. It is a good morning. Fantastic. Because that's how we shift our energy. It's just keep at it, keep at it, keep at it. Okay. And now we shake it out. I don't have my bracelets to make my shaky, shaky noise. But okay, we're shaking out our energy. Just like the dogs and the cat. I don't know. Do cats shake their energy? I don't have cats. I have a dog. But yes. Okay. So now we've done all of that. We're feeling good. Now we set our intentions for the day. So how do you want to feel today? How do you want to walk through the day? What do you want to feel at the end of the day? Is there something you'd like to accomplish? How would you like to accomplish it? And what I mean by how would you like to accomplish it, I mean, there's lots of ways for us to get things done. Do we want to like rush through it, stress out? Do we want to enjoy it? Do we want to, move through it and face our challenges with grace and compassion? I mean, I think we might want to. It doesn't always happen. So that's what this intention setting is for, right? We intend to have our day go a certain way. Maybe you're working on something and you'd like to just make sure that everything goes smoothly today. Maybe you're feeling kind of off, or you're in pain, or you're struggling in some sense. And so you want to just call in for support and ask for an easy day, ask for a peaceful day, ask for a spacious day, ask for an abundant day, ask for a productive day, right? Set your intention on what kind of day you want. And of course, you can use your GPS word here. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I have a thing called the GPS workbook, and that is something that you can easily download for free. It's my gift to you and anybody watching. And it will ask you a number of questions, and you can go through the questions and answer the questions, and you will realize that there is a foundational way that you want to feel. There is, we say we want this or we want that. When people say, like, what is your goal? We may have material goals or physical goals, and that's great. But those material goals and those physical goals, when you break them down, really it comes down to a feeling that we want. We want to feel freedom. We want to feel amazing. We want to feel peaceful. So whatever that is, you can apply that now to your GPS. So that's what we're going to intend with our intentions. I intend to have a peaceful day. I hope to have a powerful day. I hope to have a day filled with connections, and that all of my choices are divinely guided and protected. That's the kind of intention we're talking about here. And so now that we've said that, I will say my Me First Morning prayer and set the intentions for all of us. You are welcome to say your own prayer or no prayer at all if that doesn't resonate with you. You can also use whatever prayer you connect with from your spiritual or religious beliefs. You may have, something like the Our Father, or, well, obviously I grew up Catholic, so not obviously. I grew up Catholic, so I refer to the Our Father and the Catholic prayers, Apostles' Creed, whatever works for you. You can choose those, or you can just sit in silence and set your intention and just say literally one sentence that's like, hey, I want to have a really good day. Please support me in having a day that feels good to me. That it can be as simple as that. All right, here we go. Divine Mother, Infinite Father, Creator, Archangels, Ascended Masters, Spirit Guides, Ancestors, and all beings of 100% pure white light, allow me to be a clear and open channel of your light and love without hesitation or ego. May the highest vibration of infinite consciousness connect with my higher self and release any and all things that no longer serve me. May I ask that Saint Germain and his infinitely powerful violet flame burn away the things that no longer serve myself or humanity and hold us back from our divine existence. Help us to embody our intentions for the day and help us raise the collective vibration for the highest and greatest good of all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So be it, and so it is. That feels so good. I love saying that every single day. Mom, you miss Blue? Oh, he's doing great. For those of you who don't know, Blueberry is my dog, and he had like a major surgery, had like spine surgery. So it was a little scary there for a while, but he's doing great. And when my parents were here, they got to kind of see him get better. But he's doing really well. All right. So let's pull a card and see, what do the angels or guides, I kind of like just sort of put it out to all of the spirit guides, all of the beings of light, to get their guidance, whatever message they want to send, let them guide the cards and the message that we need to hear. But this is a really great time actually for us to start delving into the topic of the day, right? This is the wasting your time. And it really hit me yesterday as something that potentially many people are dealing with. And especially, like I said, the talkers, right? The talkers, the artists. You know, and I say that from my own experience, but if you are watching and were interested in something different growing up and you weren't necessarily an artist or a creative artist, because everybody's an artist. So, just want to say that. If you're not a creative artist, or if you weren't particularly a talker, but there was something that you would do that you felt like it was, a waste of time, or you were told it was a waste of time, like, why are you spending time doing that? Get to work, right? That's the message that we receive as a society very often, is that, like, there's like time for play and then there's time for work, and never should those two meet, right? Like, that's kind of, it's like you got to hit the pavement, you got to hustle, you got to grind, you got to, make the money, you got to pay the bills, and yes, we have to do all those things. But I think it's much more possible to do all of those things with the gifts that you have brought into this world. And very often, because society may not understand, or your parents may not understand, or family may not understand, or school is not set up to understand that there are, and I believe that teachers understand. And I want to say, because I have very good friends who are teachers, Linda, who was a teacher for 10 years, and my mother-in-law, and I know lots of amazing teachers. So this is not about the teachers, but about the school system itself and how it's been structured and set up. And it is not conducive to people who have interests that don't fall into the school curriculum, right? And so you have a child that goes into the school system, and they might be passionate musicians or artists, and they're visual artists, and so they'll excel in art because they do have art in school, but like maybe they don't excel at the math and the science, and maybe they don't, and I'm not saying this as a stereotype, like because you're good at art you're not good at it's something else, because I know that is not the case, because one of my children is actually an incredible visual artist and also is incredibly smart in math. So, we all have our gifts, but even children like that, right, that are really adept at the creative and, sort of the STEM side of things, it's like they haven't, it's really hard to find a blend. Like, how do you blend both the art and the math? And let me tell you, they're connected. The older I get, the more I learn about spirituality, the more I learn about God, the more I learn about the planet, the more I see how connected math and science and spirituality really actually are. And math and science are just, the way that source has given us to manipulate and learn about our physical environment, right? That is just the way, that is like the language of the earth, right? Math is the language of the planet, because everything's kind of like mathematically and perfectly balanced in its own way. Math and science are the key. And my mom's watching, so she's probably laughing her ass off because I hated math and science in school. But I have really grown to love both math and science and realize that it was just that I was not taught it in a way that I understood it. And, that is changing now. It is changing in the school system too. I think that they are changing the way they teach things, but it's slow going. But anyway, all of this to say, of course, that if you were a talker, if you were an artist, if you were a musician, if you loved creative arts and expressing yourself in that way, you may have heard and learned growing up that you talk too much, that, music was a waste of time. Get yourself a real job or find yourself a real career. My parents were not really like that. So I just want to say that outright, because my parents always encouraged me to pursue whatever career I wanted to pursue. Um, but definitely, I think that it's not just about how, in my case, it's not just about how my parents treated me, but how they treated themselves, how they talked about themselves, how they treated each other, how they talked about each other. And I think that permeates our belief system as well. I really have thought a lot about this. You're welcome. Yes, you were always very supportive of me. Um, but you hear these things growing up and you'll hear people talking, right? And you might hear like, oh God, like they're just, a starving artist, like, poor so and so's mother has to deal with, so and so being a starving artist or whatever. And so you hear these things and you're like, oh, I guess being an artist is not a good thing, or is not, my parents don't support that. Or somebody may say to you like, why are you wasting time doing this? Like, get yourself a real job and then do your art on the side. Well, what happens when you become a parent or when you become an adult? But for me it was parenthood, and all of a sudden you have a lot of obligations. You have to take care of children, you have to take care of the house, you have to take care of whatever it is you have to take care of. You have to do your job if you have a job. Whether I work from home, but there's other people who obviously go to their jobs. And so what gets left behind? Well, what gets left behind is your passions, is the things that bring you joy, because they're a waste of time, right? No, they are not a waste of time. And that's what we need to shift here. So I just want to say to each and every one of you who were labeled the talkers, who were labeled eccentric, who were labeled kind of like, oh, they beat to their own drum, right? I think most of the people who watch me probably resonate. Hola, Clara. Hi. Most of the people who watch me probably resonate with those things, that you're kind of like a little bit of an outcast. You beat to your own drum. You're too much of a talker. That's, us. And that's okay. But what that told us, the seed that was planted with that, is that what brings us joy is not important. What brings us joy is not worth anything. It's not even worth time, right? And so once you become a mother, or in my case, a mother, a parent, once you sort of like enter the real world, which I totally used on my son the other day. I said something about the real world and he looked at me, he goes, "You think my problems aren't real?" And I was like, oh my God, that was like an old school hiccup. I literally was like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that you're not existing in the real world. I was like, it's just old language that was like imprinted in me. I'm sorry, seriously. But when you enter into the real world, or when you get responsibilities, all of a sudden, what do you leave out? You leave out the things that you felt were extra, right? And that's really, for myself, where I started to have issues with my voice. And if you guys have been following me, if you're friends with me, or you know me for a long time, you know that a few years ago, especially, like, my voice would just stop working. It happens sometimes now, not as much, but it would just like stop working, and my voice wasn't functioning. I couldn't figure out why, and it wasn't physical. because I knew it wasn't. I knew it was energetic, and I really like tried to do a lot of healing on it. And it never really, I never figured out why, because I was like, I'm not afraid to talk. I'm super comfortable talking. I give my message, like was showing up all the time. So I'm like, why is my voice not working? Which is usually a message of like, use your voice. And I was like, I'm speaking my truth. I'm showing up for myself. I don't know why my voice isn't working. And I think it's kind of come what I realized, in this process that I've been in, like, let's just say 2022 has brought even more healing. That the next layer of healing for me was that I realized, oh my goodness, this has, I have felt one of my limiting beliefs is that what I love to do the most, which is talk to people, and really it is something that I love to do. I would be on the phone all day if I could, and I know that's weird for some people, but I shouldn't say that I would be on the phone all day if I could, because it's actually very exhausting. But I love being on the phone or being on Zoom with people and literally just like, what's your problem? What's going on in your life? How can I help you solve it? It brings me so much joy to help someone kind of navigate their challenges, help them see things from different perspective. And that's what brings me joy. But yet I was feeling like I was wasting time. Now, obviously, I'm not wasting time when I'm doing this with clients, but I was feeling like that I was wasting time when I was doing it with other people, because that was like the limiting belief that this is not really worth anything. And it's not even that I was wasting time helping someone, because that always felt good, especially if I'm helping someone else. But more so personally, I felt like all I want to do is talk, and that's such a waste of time. But talking is how I process things. Talking is how I channel. Talking is how I heal. And that is how I give my medicine to people. It's through my words. You may have your medicine like art, right? And I have an artist here, Meredith. She's an incredible artist, an incredible art professor. And her healing comes through her art, right? I have other friends who their healing comes from music, or their healing comes from actual healing, like, like sound healing or whatever modality. But my healing comes from talking. It comes from using my words. It's infusing my words with what I'm channeling. And I just really want you guys to know that the thing that you have probably been told all your life that is a waste of time, that is, just not something you should pay attention to or not worth investing in, is probably the very thing that holds your gift and holds your magic, and that is the medicine that you give to the world. So I really want you to think about that. Okay, I'm pulling the card now. Going to work by walking and listening to It's a Beautiful Day. Love seeing. Oh, thank you, Clarinha. Obrigada. Muitos beijinhos para ti. Eu tenho tantas saudades tuas. Yeah, bon dia trabalho. Okay, here we go. Here's the card. Oh my God, the cards are going crazy. Okay. All right. So the card that I pulled, look at this, number 23, the Golden Palace. Oh my God, I love this card. And you know what I feel about this card? This card is connected to what we are talking about right now. Sorry, this mic is like, it's at a weird angle. It's driving me nuts. The Golden Palace is like the place, right, that we all want to reach, right? And if you look at this, like it seems like it's hard to get to. It's up on a hill. It's all by itself. And there's so many things. There's so many layers to this card, and there's so many layers to what we're talking about. We're getting to the end, but I really want to talk about this for a second and just say to you that very often we think it's impossible to live a life that feels in resonance with who you are, right? There's, we're always talking about, the grind, the hustle, and I talked about that earlier. But really, we've been given the gifts, like each animal, each tree, each, nature, participant. Okay, I'm like, I don't know, animals, trees, like all of nature has its purpose, right? All of nature has its purpose. And it came into this planet with its purpose, right? Like the apple tree is an apple tree and its purpose is to bear fruit. Okay, the orange tree, the tulip, is like, well, its purpose is to be a tulip, right? Birds, like all sorts of birds, they each have their own purpose. They each have their own way of doing things, right? There's like some birds that hibernate, there's other birds that don't. Some birds fly for the south, some birds hanging around all winter, right? I got cardinals in my backyard, and blue jays in my backyard. But like Canadian geese, they take off and they go south, right? So each representative of nature, each member, an element of nature, they have their purpose and they're here, and they're not trying to figure out their purpose, they just are. And so why do us humans, why do we make things so difficult and be like, oh, I need to find my purpose, I need to find my, the thing that I'm supposed to make money at, which sometimes people make it the same thing, and sometimes it's like, no, I need to have a money job, and I need to have like a passion and purpose job. You know what you need to do? You need to figure out what comes most naturally to you, what comes easy to you, what you connect with, what lights you up. That's why I talk about this so often, because when you can figure out what lights you up and really lights you up, that you really feel connected with, that's your purpose. That's your gift. That's who you are. You don't have to figure anything out. There's nothing to figure out. What do you love to do? Now, that might be a really hard question if you are an adult, if you are a parent, okay? Because you probably have not been truly connected to the things you love to do in a long time if you haven't chosen it as a career. Now, there are people who have chosen it as a career, and so they're connected to it. Maybe they have their own healing to do with that. But if you find that you are in a place in your life where you feel stuck or stagnant or miserable, like let's go right there. Maybe you're miserable and you realize you're like, well, how did I get here? This is like, how did I get to this place in my life? And why am I so miserable, or why am I so exhausted, right? That's also a sign. If you're just exhausted, it means you are doing, first of all, you're probably doing a hell of a lot too much, which is probably everybody right now. But also, you are not living in your purpose. You are not living in alignment with who you really want to be, because if you were, that comes easy. Now, I don't mean it's easy sailing all the way and you don't have to do any work, but the work is inspired. The actions are inspired. You want to do it. You want to stay up until 2 o'clock in the morning, doing that painting because it's bringing you so much joy and satisfaction. You want to stay up until, 3 o'clock in the morning writing that new book because it's like, oh my God, I just have to get it out. I just have to do it, right? Maybe you want to have a dance party because dancing and moving really makes you feel connected to who you are and connected to your body. Only you can answer what it is that your true passion is. And if you haven't figured it out, think back to when you were a kid and what did you spend time doing? What was the thing that you were told over and over again, just stop, that's a waste of time? That could be one of the ways for you to discover this for yourself, is like, stop doing this. You're too much of this. You're too much of that. Stop talking. Let me tell you, I heard it my whole life. You talk too much. Fala barato. That's what they used to call me. And in Portuguese, that literally means like cheap talker, right? Because it's like you have so many words that it's like they don't mean anything because there's so many words. Now, that kind of stuff sort of sinks in to your psyche and you start thinking, oh, my words, I have too many words, I talk too much, those words are worthless. That may be the situation for you, but let me tell you something. If that is your gift, if that is how you process things, if that is how you channel, if that is how you help, if that is how you support people, then that is your medicine and that is your purpose. So don't ever stop. And let me tell you, when you are connected to your purpose, it is much, much easier than you think to get everything that you want once you are connected to your purpose, once you are fighting against what comes naturally to you. Stop fighting what comes naturally to you and figure out a way how you can do what comes naturally to you all the time, because that's what's going to bring you joy. That's what's going to bring you fulfillment. That is what's going to bring you everything you want, including the golden palace, right? The thing that you want the most, whatever your golden palace is. It may not be a palace. It may not be golden. It could be a beach. It could be, just peace at home. Think about it. I promise you that whatever you think is terribly wrong with you is not. And most likely, it is the exact thing that you came here on earth to share with the world. So, really think about that. Okay. I love you all. And I hope you have an incredible, incredible day. I will be back tomorrow, as I am every weekday, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Jumpstart for Change. Don't forget it. And I will be here tomorrow. Mwah! Have a lovely day. I really, really love you all.